All right, guys, here we go with example number 5 on inequalities. And look, I'm trying to present this in a way where you don't have to learn a whole bunch of different processes. I'll say it one more time. You could teach it as one process for linear, one process for quadratic, one process for higher degree, one process for absolute value, different ways of doing different types. I'm doing them all the same. Equation, number line. To me, in my experience, that has been by far the most successful approach that I've ever tried with different classes. All right? So the first thing is, let's change the symbol to equal. All right, solve the equation. This one is an absolute value equation. So that would be the flashback right now, would be absolute. All right, let's see, what assignment number was absolute value equations? I want to say it was like assignment 13, something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. But here's what it looked like back then. And so this is review. And so what we did, you recall, is we isolate the absolute value, whereby we would look at that absolute value expression and do whatever it takes to get rid of these things that surround it. And I hope you would agree that the first thing would be to subtract over the 2. All right, so we've got -4 times the absolute value equals -68. And then I hope you would agree we need to get rid of that -4 with division, and we're left with the absolute value equals 17. All right, so that's isolating the absolute value. Then you recall, hopefully, that there are two numbers that have an absolute value of 17. One of those is -17, and the other one is +17. So again, the equation part of this is old stuff. Okay, so I got to be snobby and talk about, okay, go over here and solve this thing. And so anyway, if you continue with this one, subtract the 3 over at this point, solve the resulting equation, and then divide out the 2. This is an old assignment, all right? So -10 emerges from that particular equation. And then same thing over here. You got to keep them separated. So separate, divide. I'd love to have somebody over there working the board for me, clicking all the links. But anyway, we have two critical values, -10 and 7. All right, so that's important. Division by 0, that's old stuff. Let's get away from that, come back to the present day. Let's put that old stuff into today's context. Division by 0? Nah, there's no fractions. All right, so it's time to play the dating game. We draw this number line here, and we put the -10 on there, and we put the 7 on there, and we start analyzing. And remember, this number line represents every value that x could possibly be. That's what a variable is, right? Any number. Okay, now, what do we got? Equal. Are we supposed to find numbers that make the two equal? Yeah, it said greater than or equal. So these equal to, yep, those both go on there. And so visually, I hope you would agree, yep, nice solid dot there. You guys are solid answers. You work. Equal is in the problem. It all depends on the relationship as to what's in the question. Speaking of relationships, let's go search these different intervals, these different neighborhoods for numbers that make this thing greater than that thing. All right, so what would be a number to the left of -10? I'm going to pick -20. All right, put it in for x. Now, I don't know, I struggle with this. Let's do a little mental arithmetic. We can do it. What's 2 times -20? -40 plus 3. All right, so I'll do that little step in there. And again, there's a question mark here right now because I don't know yet. It's too early to tell what the relationship is. So we continue on. Let's see, in this case, wouldn't we do what's inside the absolute value bars next? So -40 plus 3 is -37. Plus 2, -66. We don't know the date. The date goes on, right? We're learning about each other. All right, then we take the absolute value of that -37, which changes it to +37. Notice that changed into parentheses 38. plus 2, so on. I'm almost at the bottom of the board, so I'm going to do the remaining steps. Let's see, negative 4 times 38. Oh, goodness. Negative 4 times 38 is negative 152 plus 2. That would be negative 150. I did the 2, multiply, then add. And negative 150 compared to negative 66. And you would hopefully agree with me that negative 150 is less than negative 166. And I'm putting that in red here because I remembered that I'm looking for greater, and that made less. It's not good. All right? We don't like it. So that failed. Wah, wah. Okay, so now we move to the middle interval, which I would point out contains 0. And I would always, when I get to zero's neighborhood, use it as the test number. It's the easiest math possible. So, negative 4, look, let's do it. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 3, that'd be 3, plus 2, and then the other side is just negative 66. Just put that test number in wherever there's an x, and this side doesn't have an x. All right, and then the absolute value of 3 is just plain old 3. I want to remind you that when you apply absolute value to a negative number, why did that change into a 38, by the way? Oh, man. Okay, that should have been 37. Okay, but I still think the same conclusion resulted. Sorry, I don't know why they changed that to that. Good thing I stepped back and looked at it. Just for clarity, that left-hand side, and you probably saw that earlier and wondered, why the heck did he do that? But anyway, okay, now it's negative 146. It's still the same. Still the same relationship. That's one of those rare occasions where you can mess up and get away with it. And I might not have caught that on your paper. But anyway. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And negative 12 plus 2. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. And negative 10 is actually greater than negative 66, and there you go, greater, ding, 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 right? That's the relationship in this particular question, so this middle interval seems to be working. And then we'll pick a number bigger than 7. What do you guys want to use? 10! Good idea, I'm going to use 10. It ends in 0. All right, so here we go, negative 4. This just tests your arithmetic skills. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 3, that'd be 23. Plus 2, negative 66. All right, put a question mark there. The absolute value of 23 is 23. Again, remember, when you apply absolute value to a negative number, it changes it to positive. And if you apply absolute value to a positive number, it remains positive. So, negative 4 times 23 is negative 92, and negative 92 plus 2 is negative 90. Use your calculator, do whatever you need to do. But negative 90 is less than negative 66, and once again, less than is the wrong relationship. So there you go. That middle region gave us greater. So, that's the one that worked. So it's one we want to write up. And so when we write this up in interval notation, and that's what the math nerds call what it's about to appear on the screen. From left to right, we would say negative 10, comma 7, and since they're both included, y equal, 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 they came from over here, equal, and equals in the question, brackets on both of them. Okay, there you go. That would be the answer to that. Circle it, done. I always want to review with people very quickly when we get to this. Let's play the game of what if. I could change the question very quickly. That's the answer, it's done. But if we took away the equal, which is very easy to do on an editor, equation editor, wouldn't these two numbers that came from the equal, the negative 10 and the 7, no longer work if we took away the equal? So visually we hollow them out, and wouldn't that simply change the symbol to a parenthesis on both ends? There you go, all right? Now, please don't flip a coin. Look at the notes, right? Include brackets, exclude parentheses. I want to warn you, I've had people turn their paper in where they put this nebulous, what I call parenthebracket, because they're not quite sure, kind of this squared off, rounded hybrid thing. And I'm on the lookout for that, so please don't do that. Be very clear with your parentheses and your brackets as to the appropriate symbol. All right, so once again, let's put it back in its original state. If there was an equal in the question, those would be filled in, and these would be very, very, very squared off brackets. All right, there's that one. Hang in there, we're doing all right, aren't we?